No, irritating. Okay, here we go.
With real rolls, pictures of real dogs and real
You know, I just like
Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning. Not quite ending. That'll come a couple hours later. Hello, I've been meaning to get a hold of you. I sent an email, I think, but maybe you didn't get it. All right, let me go through the
routines.
Thank you over there. Notes, intro, checklist, sign in. Okay. All right. So welcome to Sacred Grounds. I'm Dan Brady, the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe. Serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Give yourself a round of applause right now because you're here. I'll go like this and wave it in a silly way. Also another round for Teddy back there. He's the host. Support this. We support this. He supports us. We buy our food and drink and have a good time, and then we get to hold forth here. I'm just running through the routines here. Please respect the mic, and that means if you have a conversation, keep it very low, whisper like that. If you have a device such as a cell phone or a computer or anything like that, now's the time to put it on vibrate, mute, airline mode, whatever you can to obviate the chance of it coming through and disturbing you and or others. Tonight's feature. Hello. What? I don't know. Tonight's feature couldn't make it. There was a problem with a health issue, so Ryan Austin will be rescheduled probably in February. That's what he said would be better for him. So I tried to get the word out, but he only told me Monday night late. So we don't have him. The keynote, however, is here. David Erdreich, are you here? Erdreich, the keynote. Owen Gunkel, Owen Gunkel's the keynote. You're the mini feature. Don't let me get mixed up like that. Thank you. Give him a round. Give them a round. Give me a round. Give yourself a round. Not a square or a rectangular ovoid. Now, I just want to point out the link on the wall, this little flyer here. That is good for several things. If you can't be here and you want to view in, that's where you go. If you want to have someone see you live, that's where you go. If you want to hear what someone read, did, thought, whatever, you can go back and look that and find tonight's video there. If you want to do a self-critique, look at how you did. Geez, that zip popped right in the middle of my story. You can see that live, and more importantly, it's a way to put out your work, the word, this place, and so forth and so on. Tonight's theme is checkmate. Not mandatory, but it's an interesting one. I'm going to do the fabulous door prizes in just a moment. But relative to getting the word out, this is my ongoing, never-ending theme, which is never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And that's from Margaret Mead. Who knows? Anyway, last, if you wish to record somebody, photograph, or do anything like that, please ask them permission. I will assume that you've done that should I see you doing that, and if I am wrong, or you're wrong, or they are wrong, you'll have to talk it and work it out. Yes. And then, let's see what else is there. Oh, the door prizes. This was given to me on the way here. Now, it can be used by a real candle, but this is an electric candle. I mean, the guy said, take it, please take it. I said, I don't need it. I said, no, please take it. No. I'll take it. There we go. And Baha Men, it's a nice little compilation of their work. And poetry, in case you want to know about that. And if none of those ring your bell, I have a nice childlike notepad for those people who would like to have a nice childlike notepad. And then there are small cards, which I don't have in front of me. If those prizes don't work for you, then there is, you can choose to be the mini feature next week if you're here. Or if you're here, you can decide to be the keynote. Or you can choose our theme. I can't remember the other one. Just theme, keynote.
Last word.
Last word, yes. You can decide to be the very last word, and no one else can gainsay what you said because you're the last person speaking. All right, so that takes care of that. at the moment. Is there anything else? Oh yes, have a good time. And if you're up here, say what you need to say. If you can't say it here, I don't know what to tell you. It's a place where you should be able to speak. And if someone says something you question or doubt, well, then it's your turn. You may speak as well. That's also respecting the mic. Anyway, so I'm going to sit down now. Owen Dunk will be coming out here in just a moment to be the keynote. Please give him a round of applause as I sit.
Ron, warm it up, please. We need to have something going on around here. All right. I did forget one thing while he's getting it set up. If you read a poem by someone else, this is the attribution page. I'll hand this to you. You put your name, the name of the poet, and the poem, or whatever it is, so I don't always write Charge of the Light Brigade by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who didn't write that.
Okay.
There he goes.
For my keynote poem, I'll read Ezra Pound's Fourth Canto. Canto 4. Palace in smoky light, Troy but heap of smoldering boundary stones. Onyx of foreman Injays, Armin Ciela, hear me Cadmus of golden prows. The silver mirrors catch the bright stones and flare. Dawn to our waking drifts in the green cool light. Dew haze blurs in the grass, pale ankles moving. Beat, beat, whir, thud in the soft turf under the apple trees. Chorus nymph arm, Gorkfoot with the pale foot alternate. Crescent of blue salt waters, green gold in the shadows. A black cock crows in the sea foam. And by the curb-carved foot of the couch, clawfoot and lion head, an old man seated speaking in a low tone. Eaton, eter flaberite. Eaton, and she went towards the window and cast her down, all the while swallows crying, Eaton, it is Gaveston's heart in the dish, it is Gaveston's heart in the dish, no other taste shall change this. And she went to the window, the slim white stone bar making a double arch, firm even fingers held to the firm paled stone, swung for a moment, and the wind out of Rhodes caught in the full of her sleeve, the swallows crying, yes, 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 Octin in a valley. The valley is thick with leaves, the trees. The sunlight glitters atop like a fish scale roof, like the church roof in Poitiers. If it were cold, beneath it, not a ray, not a sliver, not a spare dish of sunlight, flaking the black soft water, bathing the body of nymphs and of Diana, nymphs white gathered about her in the air, shaking air alight with the goddess, fanning that hair in the dark, lifting and wafting, ivory dipped in silver, overshadowed, ivory dipping in silver, not a splotch, not a lost shadow of sunlight. Then Octian, Vidal, it is old Vidal speaking, stumbling along in the wood, not a path, not a lost shimmer of sunlight, the pale hair of the goddess. The dogs sleep on Actian, hither, thither Actian, spotted stag of the wood, gold, a shape of hair, thick like a wheat swath, blaze in the sun. The dogs leap on Actian, stumbling along in the wood, muttering Ovid, Pergusa, Pearl, Gargaphia, pool of Salamis. The empty armor shakes as the signet moves. Thus the light rains, thus pours Itlos, Soleil Ploville, the liquid and rushing crystal beneath the knees of the gods. Ply over ply, thin glitter of water, brook film bearing white petals. The pine at Takasago grows with the pine of Islay. The water whirls up to the bright pale sand in the spring's mouth. Behold the tree of the visages, forked branch tips flaming as if with lotus, ply over ply, the shallow eddying fluid neath the knees of the gods. Torches melt in the glare, set flame in the corner cook's stall, blue agate casing the sky as it Gordon at that time. The sputter of resin, saffron sandals, so petals the narrow foot of Hymenaeus Io, Hymen Lo Hymenae, Arlen Kiela. One scarlet flower is cast on the blanched white stone, and slow Yoku sang, this wind's sire is the king's wind, this wind's wind of the palace, shaking imperial water jets, and he sang, opening his collar. The wind roars in the earth's bag. It lays the water with rushes. No wind is the king's wind. Let every cow keep her calf. This wind is held in gauze curtains. No wind is the king's. The camel drivers sit in the turn of the stairs, look down an octagon of plotted streets. Dane, Dane, what wind is the king's? Smoke hangs on the ocean. The peach trees shed bright leaves in the water. Sound drifts in the evening haze. The bark scrapes at the ford. Gilt rafters above black water. 3 steps in an open field. Gray stone posts leading. Père Henri Jacques would speak with the Seneno Roku. Mount Roku beneath the rock and the cedars. Paul Huac, as DJs and Thracian platters set the feast. Gaveston Teresias is Gaveston's heart in the dish. Del or Actabon upon the gilded tower of Actabon. Lay the god's bride lay over, waiting the golden rain by Garon, Save. The Garon is thick like paint, procession at Save, Regina. Moves like a worm in the crowd. Adage thin film of images, above by the Adage by Stefano, Madonna at Hortudo, as Cavalcante had seen her, the centaur's heel plants in the earth's loam, as we sit here, there in the arena. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owen Dunkel. Here, don't forget this. Owen. See, he has to get that. Now he'll be back at the Open because whoever does the keynote reads somebody else's poem, and then they come back into the Open.
Who's the poet, Owen?
Ezra Pound.
Ezra Pound.
Pound.
He was the guy who wrote it. Thank you.
Ezra Pound.
Ezra Pound.
Not T.S. Eliot, standing in the captain's tower. All right, so let me just read the next 5 so we know who's there. We got John Rhodes, we got Ben Buford, David Z, Ed, we got David G, Stephanie, the Reverend Egg King, Kathleen, then Owen coming back to the Open, and Dan Beelzebub before Richard Sanderell, which will probably be who is the ultimate person before the break. So, John, would you kindly come forth, give him a round of applause as he comes up here to hold forth once again before our very eyes, blinding them with justice, purity, and the American way. I'll now stop.
I'm giving away tickets.
Not you.
Natika Angeli, she was on the show 2 shows ago on my TV show. She runs a very fancy, let's see what it says here, I can't quite remember.
The Dancing Poetry Contest?
Yeah, well, it's Artist Embassy International Poetic Dance Theater. And she has all sorts of famous poets, and last year she had, Elizabeth Hack with Peace and Hope. I don't know whether she's still going to have it this year, but it's worth it just to go there and watch the host change costumes every 5 minutes. But I think these are actually expensive, so if anybody wants one, please take one. Don't take it if you don't plan to go.
Oh, give him a time. When is it?
The time is Saturday, September 17th, noon to 4 p.m. at the Palace of the Legion of Honor. So it's in a really cool place, too.
I've been there. It's a great place to go. The performances are great. They do the poems, and the people move, they do the dancing to the poems.
Yeah.
It's great.
She's done a lot of dancing stuff with Mary Rudge. They were all into dancing and poetry, and anybody who knows Mary Rudge, she does stuff very similar to Mary Rudge. So I'm going to read one short poem. I read this on my last TV show. I'm going to torture you with an old saw. So the poem is called St. Joseph Sawing with Some Old Saws. So the pun is intended. I asked my hippie friends for some clues. They remind me, remember Peter, the rock? A big rock is a clue, all right. I wouldn't want to say the lack of clues indicates something hidden is afoot. Don't chop off my feet either, I would be clueless. A big round eyepiece cannot spot a crime through a telescope mirror, but who is to say what an alien sees through a tube? Copernicus was obsessed with the copper penny for his thoughts. Copernicus was obsessed with a copper penny for his thoughts because he thought everything revolved around those copper pennies. Electric copper wires seemed to pick up his message easily. Heavy metal Norseman just went south the other day. I have pet theories about the trails of not-so-petty sins when Joseph was the pet of Asenath, them touching encrypted like wrappers in Egyptian linens. I think it will be fantastic when the story comes out next year. It will be then that the earth will no longer be a pet fantasy of a pensioned child. All people who will leave at least once in their lives to meditate and try to solve the ancient Patsy curse of damnation and Eve. We have these two big words, ordered universe. Where should we put them? Thinking of Darwin, she said, put them anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. And he also has a. You told him about your podcast.
Well, I mumbled about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see him about that. It's a great thing, and he and Claire are putting something together that's going to be
Try to get to me early because I usually leave a little early if you want these.
When you go by, let me know.
Okay.
I'm going by. Buford Bunton is next. Come on up, Buford. Take that mic and let us know what's happening. Give him a nice round, please. Come on, let's wake it up out there, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. You're acting as if you've never seen poetry before. Wait till I get up there.
This is called Carlos. Carlos is interested in being a film director, going to Academy of Art University in San Francisco. He works hard on his math, negative and positive numbers. The other aide tutors him thoroughly. I help him with English.
There we go. Thank you, David. As always.
I'm warning you, this has an offensive word in it.
No.
It's kind of a sexist word.
Oh, it's not about Bush? That'd be bad enough.
This is called Pasternak.
Say it again, please.
Pasternak.
Thank you.
Light skin, hair the color of dust. She moves about the room, keeping the ninth graders on task. I talked to her after class about this young male student who asked me what the word cunt means. I tell the boy it's not a very nice word for vagina. Pasternak continues in her slight mid-30s frame about the room, thinking I would imagine about the errant term and whether I'm errant or not. I hope for approval.
Amen. Well, you got to be careful. Thank you. All right, David Z, come on up. You're next. And then we have Ed, Melendez, David G, and the Reverend A. King, and so forth, and so on.
Nice haircut.
Hi.
Thank you. This poem has no offensive word in it, as far as I know.
Maybe
Nice to see all of you here.
That's offensive.
As usual, I'll start with a poem I wrote 40 years ago and finish with one I wrote in the last week or two.
Nice.
So, there you go. The Blue Ribbon Commission. Bodies stiff and endless chant, ships shudder, you fool. One Montana preacher speaking to his wife. One haunting child full of uncut H. 8 pieces of gold imitating the Virgin. Our newspaper lecturing us on the coldness and remoteness of the farthest planets. Planets where one would most likely find heretics, bandits, and vermin. Medicine men discovering their place in your origin, your secret place. Untouchable, unpolluted, priceless. You sweat as you remember the feeling of emerging from your mother at birth, crawling out between her legs, taking your first breath and mouthing some unknown street language. In fact, you can't get past the word go. And since your infant hands are unable to grasp the revolver offered to you by your mother, the doctor places it to your temple and begins to sing, slowly at first, increasing in tempo and volume until the wisdom and beauty of his song make you weep. You feel like a flower opening to the new day. But your dreams are exploded by the crash of the bullet that splatters your infant brain all over the place, ending your life the way it began. A drop of juice shot into the void, looking for its master, hating its maker, praying they are not the same. Thank you. And now I wrote this a little more recently. Near the ruins. I saw you near the ruins of a derelict spaceport, your eyes closed on mine, dreaming together in ruined canyon, your warm lips forever taste joy, birdsong treetops far below, dwindling engines of nightfall sunshine. Tango Enceladus cold seas flash by, tightly I hold you, many lost seasons clawing the bedroom door, moment love set to maximum. You sketch sandstone clock faces staring at time. So many dark seconds stream out of gravity pockets into mine. Free falling in cave yards of your bravest destiny footsteps. Tireless imagination winding miles of thought into tiny etched galaxies of wireless pinpoints. You trace down the canyon walls, back to the cave yard of ancient rocket emotion and fuel tanks, choked by years of ferocious dust and stray trader caravans on the murky Silk Road. No longer grief in your waiting, no longer to bring me one song, one silken dawn in your arms, one sleeping pantomime engram muse. Radio says, stop now and tremble, so many planets star dancing, never I visit any but yours. Thank you.
Wow. David Z, thank you. All right, and now one of our proud moments here. We have Ed Melendez coming up here before your very eyes. So give him a nice round, and you might raise that up, and I'll make you necessary. I got you in.
Did you get my ink?
No, you have to spit here. Hold on a second. Now let me just get this organized. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. Go ahead. You're on.
All right. This one's called Metaphysics or Pizza. The train needed a second engine, so we were stuck somewhere between San Luis Obispo and Pismo. Santa Barbara was far now. The air outside cool with breeze, and scattered clouds quieting a central coast moon. Another November night written about. I stared at my slice of pizza, microwaved by the dining car, tasteless essence of might be Italy. Really, what questions could I ask it? Metaphysics and pizza don't mix well tonight. Still, those clouds. If this were an adventure, they would be angels, fallen ones, dressed in white, ready to destroy. Then again, that old barn we passed by Los Olivos, was it hiding a secret for 100 years? A farmer's treasure or curse? It might crumble into some deepening mystery. But this is a poem about pizza and metaphysics. Taking a last bite while the new engine rolls by, formulating sets of questions about being and non-being, stuck here for 7 hours. No lines come. No existential quips to banter in my head. Pizza and metaphysics should avoid each other, I guess. The train begins to sputter alive. We're moving. Laurelhurst Park, Portland, Oregon. Running laps around your fences of lush trees at the start of the coldest winter in 20 years. I pass rugged, weathered ducks, watching me run, counting laps, debating my sanity. Endless laps chasing my broken heart until I can't run anymore. And I sit on a frozen bench to count my ducks, debating with them the benefits of poetry and migration.
Nicely done. Are these modern?
The Metaphysics and Pizza I wrote today.
Oh.
And the other ones are within the last 2 months.
Okay.
I grew up in El Salvador, so the Pacific and the ocean were really a big part of my growing up. So this one's called the Pacific. I've stepped over your foam and rocks, waited among your crabs, little clapping messengers from your aqua kingdom, stood among fishermen under Salvadorian sun, asking no questions, demanding no secrets. I have been your witness before your Atlantic storm-riddled throne, showing respect among raindrops of light. I have swam in your lonely swirls, listening, watching depths sink deeper and deeper, beyond poetry, beyond whispers, and endless storytelling.
See, sometimes a little tiny poem just takes you someplace, and then you come back and you're here. All right, David G. is next, and then after that we have Stephanie, the Reverend A. King, Kathleen Wood, Owen coming back, me, and then Richard. And give him a round of applause as he gets himself set up here.
I'm David Golub. I'm going to read God Comes Cheap in East Palo Alto. By 6 a.m. I realized two things. I couldn't stay in the apartment when the housekeeper's vacuum stirred the dust, and I couldn't get myself to the emergency room driving. I'd sit at the wheel in the plush seat, driving about 10 feet before I'd have to switch the ignition off, engage the brake, unbolt the door, spring out, like I was tormented by an itching on the inside surface of my skin. Get out, stand up, doubled over, the low soot grimed roof of my subcompact on the shoulder, the right front window crushed up against a tall hedge of dark glossy leaves. Had gasped a whole can of albuterol down my bronchioles. No use. They only burned like they'd been sandpapered. Now I was out of the stuff. 30, 40, 50, 60 shakes of the inhaler till my arm was sore. No matter. All out. Had to go it alone. Got about half a block from home. Couldn't think past getting the next breath in, then the next. I sweated through though the November had been deformed by drought, and the creek the road followed had dried out to a bed of sludge and brown weed stalks in the shadows behind the street lamp there. Later I'll figure out how I'm going to get out of this. Later, I hear a voice. Hey man, you alright? What the hell? I'm beat, I gasped. Asthma attack. He called the cops. They called an ambulance. Doors open. A light. A woman paramedic's gentle hand pressed me down into the bench They hooked my nose up to a life support. They hooked my mouth up. They started pumping oxygen into my nostrils, mist into my lungs. We rolled off over the bridge, through gentrified shopping streets, into the dawn. The season and I both breathed easier. 4 months later, it occurred to me I could have died. There was no reason for that guy to have happened by. No reason for him to stop and save me then, or even see me, except the notice you'd give, the concern you'd spend on a total stranger in passing. Such a momentary thing, and it was as close to God as I will ever come, I suppose, whatever God is. Or maybe there was a reason. Before he walked off, he asked me, "By the way, could you possibly spare about $3? I fumbled for my wallet, dumped quarters out of the coin pouch. I hit a change machine with a 5 at lunch so I could buy a sandwich. Yes, about $3, only fair."
Nice. More than fair. Thank you, David G. And now, please recognize the next poet here, Stephanie Manning. Kindly come forth and be recognized.
Oh, did you see today in the Chronicle had a nice article? I'll read it. Just cut me off from my time. Called "Ode to San Francisco's Mystical Fog" by Carrie Tennis and Steve Kaufman. It has a nice picture going in Brady with just being eaten up by the fog here. That's really nice. Much has been said of the quality that sets San Francisco apart in memory. Visitors leave with the sense they've seen a city different, almost magical way, yet are often unclear what has made this impression. Few San Franciscans, meanwhile, speak highly of the city's weather. They grouse of the fog ruining summer days and right of the western half of the city as the fog belt. But if one thing lends San Francisco its mystical, slightly otherworldly quality, it's that very fog. The kind of dense fog that rolls over much of the city much of the year can have a profound effect on our perceptions of reality. These altered states deeply affect the tone of life in San Francisco and the memories people carry away from it. Over time, ever more San Franciscans are realizing the fog is their greatest natural resource and deserves better than it gets. Fog may be the ideal form of precipitation because it does not so much get you wet as remind you of water. It so kindles memory and is so warmly remembered because its form is not water but ether. It appeals directly to the spirit as a spirit. The fog is generous to form and kind to imperfection. Only the youngest and luckiest can stand the scrutiny of the fault-finding sun. The sun creates a hierarchy of beauty. But in the fog, what counts is grace, sensed in dim light, the quality of a life heard in the voice, the touch that comes easily when outlines blur. The sun etches out edges. The fog is merciful. It blends us without disrobing us. Bright cliffs and blue water and sun are for the young and cheerful. Melancholy and fog belong to us all. In the sun, there's a clear line where cliffs meet water, as though there were no great area of unity where rock and water join, as though the surface of the rock were the rock, and the surface of the water. In the fog, rock and water merge. In the sun, there is the horizon, a line where sky and water divide. In fog, sky and water merge. Things are not as they seem. In the fog, that is how they really are. A classic San Francisco scene. Two men stand at Land's End leaning over the railing in the fog. They overlook the ocean where, through the swiftly blown mist, they see the soft gray sea heaving and receding, foam spuming up in front of the rocks. The whole scene living in their two minds as two discrete scenes. Yet they share it without speaking. If they speak, the majesty is lost. In the sunlight, the scene becomes banal. Tourists bring their cameras and energetically scale cliffs. Couples embrace in shadows of trees. Predatory teenagers roam. Land's End is too accessible in the sunlight. It holds no secrets. But the fog makes all things memorable. Coming home at night in the fog feels inherently romantic and important. He or she is fortunate whose initiation to the city comes with the insane joy of racing the fog up the hills, the unique sensation of clouds chasing him at his own level. Under the fog, the city takes on a distant quality. Cars, stores, houses sit in a strange and remote perspective, as if separated by centuries. Few waking experiences are more dreamlike than being out at night near the sea when the fog is dense, thick, white vapors filling the streets and foghorns snoring from the depths of rock and water. A San Francisco scene. A sunset couple has another couple, old friends from the East, as guests. It's the Easterners' first visit to San Francisco, and after dinner they want to see the Golden Gate. The best view their hosts know is from Land's End. The couples reach the edge of the cliff there, which ends abruptly in a sharp drop 300 feet to the frothing mouth of the bay, and look down. The locals point excitedly to the east. They are so accustomed to the position of the bridge that they have learned bit by bit to rely on their imaginations when the fog obscures parts of it. In the fog-diffused light of the city, they see their friends' faces, grim and astonished, staring into gray, and realize they cannot see the bridge at all.
Well, that's a good view. Thank you so much, Stephanie. You have to, Stephanie. Can you hand that to Stephanie, please? Stephanie, we have a paper for you there. All right, thank you. The Reverend Egg King, kindly step forward, please. Or please give him a round of applause as he comes up here. All right. And David, I was going to ask you something if you had a.
I'm going to play behind it.
Why not? I was wondering if you wanted to do your mini when we normally do the feature slot, so you would do it earlier. So you get your 8 minutes just earlier on. Okay, all right. Oh, give him a round, please. We didn't get a chance to do that.
Thank you. Yes, I'm the Reverend A. King, and apparently for the past couple centuries, there's been some trials and tribulations for folks from Africa in this country. And so the more I learn and the more I study, the sadder I get. I'm actually reading Huckleberry Finn right now at the behest of one of my teachers, and my God. So a little while back, I wrote a poem called The Conversation Unspoken, and it's between me and any black person brave enough to kind of listen to what I have to say about ranting and raving and yada yada. So, yeah. I'm not sure if you can accept an apology that's offered. How can you trust the word of a white man after all that's been done to you? An apology is not the same as acceptance of the blame for the thievery of your true name, lost long ago because I guess we needed more Caucasian examples of identification on this continent. Is there an amount of money spent that can teach the past how to repent for all the savage raping and pillaging of your culture's foundation? There have been no courts demanding an investigation who would charge the crimes of this very nation upon any individuals without hesitation for all the greed, lust, and hatred that has been bred for centuries. Dark-skinned brothers' necks swinging off trees is a sight that did please many fantasies. Perhaps a broken man had the nerve to stand up for himself. How can I explain my need to refrain from drowning in the pain of not being able to abstain from awareness of just how much hell went into the blues music that would rain tsunamis inside the brains of psychedelic warriors tripping on acid known as window pane while they're spun down the drain of just beginning to understand the meaning of it all. Lies that are fed to the whitewashed head of the masses so inbred with misinformation about the glory of this nation, all involve a constant sedation so that our collective conscience is on an endless vacation. How can I make up for the fact that your people have been jacked and there's no new city for you to claim as your own? Beyond the throne, watched by those with keys to the doors that cause baby girls to become crack whores, while society ignores your plight in the night and will not fight for your right to stand on common ground with every other ethnicity that has been able to raise themselves up from the pigsty that they were planted in. The merciless subjugation of the majority of your race being driven to the most dangerous square miles our country knows is one of the saddest fucking things I can think about. But here's something else. Where is Africa Town in this city? There's not one white or black person born on this continent whose original ancestors are from this land, but at least white folk had a choice most of the time. Do you remember crosses burning across lawns deep into the night to produce fright, to trigger the fight or flight response? Because either way, it worked in favor of those with their hands on the gasoline. The guillotine, controlling the masses through violence, is a tale as old as time. Who really benefits from crime? Industrial prison complexes springing up like weeds in the heart of the garden of our society that needs to heal from each and every wound that bleeds from our own lack of common sense, decency, and grace. Are not every one of us a card-carrying member of the human race?
Nice. Oh! Reverend, if you haven't read it, what's that one? Harriet Beecher Stowe, what's the book?
Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh,
Yeah,
I could not finish the book.
Okay.
I could not finish it, but you want to, oh my God. They spell it out.
If I want to get sadder. Okay.
You want to get sadder, I had a copy from 1922, and it was like, completely unchanged.
Right.
Anyway, thank you so much. Kathleen Wood, you are up next. Come on up here, please. Give her a round. We got Owen, myself, Richard, and then David E. is going to be our mini feature, but he's going to come on after the Sanderell. The Sanderell. I'll explain that later. Never mind. I'm old and I'm glad to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start. Thank you.
It's in here somewhere.
Thank you, David. Again, you're one of my favorite people in the universe.
For the moment.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
Okay. This one is not about Dan Brady. It's called Dan.
What?
He said he was a Scorpio, but he wasn't sure what day. He'd been adopted by Jesus freaks in Michigan and raised in a glass bell, which he shattered at 16 when he ran away to Hollywood. He grew his hair to his waist and turned tricks on Sunset Boulevard. In the early 70s, he served as a houseboy for an actor who played a sergeant on a well-known 50s sitcom. He threw really kinky parties, Dan told me. Did you know Bob Hope is bi? When the actor died, he had to leave. He married a prostitute who took him to Sonoma, where he found her a gig at a massage parlor. They had a son. For 3 years, he raised the child while she worked the circuit of massage parlors and live sex shows. She finally left him because he beat her. Somehow he wound up in San Francisco managing a welfare hotel on Turk Street. He made money on the side by selling acid to his tenants and lending money at very high interest rates. One day, one of his elderly tenants died. Dan was notified that the old man had been wealthy and had left Dan all his money. The man's relatives were angry and took legal action to get the money away from Dan. Dan hired a lawyer and won. He bought himself a Mercedes and some musical equipment. Then he drove around picking up hookers, giving them plenty of cocaine, and taking them to Vegas for 3 or 4 days at a time. On the rare occasions when he returned to the hotel, elderly and speed-freak tenants would crowd around his door, screaming insults, threatening to rent strike, and demanding toilet paper. He rented a cheap hotel room and went on a 2-month coke binge. He was running out of money. He hocked his guitars and amplifiers for rent and party money. Soon he was sleeping in his Mercedes. Complaining of a bad back, he applied for disability. The workers sneered at him, but he was persistent. He got on GA and found another hotel room. He sold his car and bought a used Mustang. He found a sympathetic doctor and began the first of a series of SSI appeals. He stayed in his room for days listening to Pink Floyd and reading science fiction magazines. He developed a theory on a new form of energy. He began to work on an invention that involved a bicycle wheel and a light bulb. I came over to visit him. I don't need sex, he told me. I'm going to change the way America sees energy. After 2 years of appeals, SSI gave in. Dan received a huge retroactive check. He spent the money on a farmhouse on a plot of land in Mendocino County, took his bicycle wheel and light bulb, and went away. He left me his phone number, but I left the notebook I wrote it in on the 14 Mission bus. That's it.
Mr. Owen Dunkel is coming back to the open mic after, because he was the mini feature. He read beautifully, but now he's coming back to do his own. Give him a round as he come up, and then we got myself, and then the Sander L, as we like to say, the Sander L. Oh, thank you. I'll have it away. Ah, there you go.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Poem number 1. Eric Satie, Debussy, I sit pensively in the sea as men mark time. March strangely through my reels, strangely opaque, thoroughly fake, gates of treason against reason. Poem number 2. Christmas, New Year's, horsemen pass by. Yeats, I wonder why, the fly flies. I sit with myself, books on the shelf. Sometimes I talk to a tiny elf. My neighbor is a gelf, I think I'm a gibbeling. I like green beans. Time starts marching, marking time like a green marine. A room full of nouns. A squeak of mice, the noise nouns make. The room full of fears, the tears try to run to the rain for silence from the noise nouns make. Once upon a day, the rebirth of take and give, the reason we forgot to see more to reason for the season. A season of reason we yearn and pine, for away there is noise, the noise nouns make. Noise and nouns, the nonsense, the sounds. We listen and search the heavens. The moon, the clouds penetrate the dark sky. I well ask why and what we listen to. Well, the noise that nouns make. Au revoir. Nouns flow from my loins like flowers. A metaphor, the king asks his men for more than heaven. This house of images belongs to someone else. 2 more poems. Turn up your heart. The moon is full. 2. The morn of the moon is in morning. Another poem. I see a boat snoring at the mooring. Poem appassionata. Set this house on fire. My thrust sets the world on fire. I sometimes think I am at the top of high achievement and excruciating responses. High achievement, excitement and high achievement. Only Henry James. History is dark. Another poem. The icy trees in North Beach I cannot reach, for I'm just a small boy that is yet to be obeyed. Another poem at Starbucks. People peruse like Christmas shoppers after Christmas. A sign on the bus says, not in service. People march and walk quietly up and down 3rd Street in the year 2014, familiar and ordinary. No, the air has always been clean of envy and metaphor and a certain love of loves. Another poem. My poems plod on the pages like a plow horse that pretends to be a dashing thoroughbred.
In its own mind.
That's you, baby.
On the eve of a reading, there are people over there, as I lose my mind to a pronoun. At the beach, the sun sets as though a child had drawn it. Rays like a crayon glimmer to the sand. The waves squiggle and giggle, undulate underneath a passive surfer on top of days and dazes. The sun sings a song to the soft, wet sand. I'm almost afraid to run to the water and get wet up to my ankles. Sonnet at Starbucks. The day presses onward. My lips concentrate on the blaring trombones and conga drums that remind me of far-off ecstasy and dancers, yes, the pulse of dancers that move and sway, that carry on with the day's tedium and romance. Lulls and visions, the mad pulse that cannot cease if the sky had stopped being blue and gray, if sirens stopped blaring and making the noise to end all noises, the noise that penetrates all pleasure and silence. The trees are a serene jungle that jangles all, that jingles and jangles, that jangles the jungle. Away. Atop the world, the debris is a rubble of cinders and adjustments of it all. You are reborn 1,000 times. Ball and chain struggle with night and stubble to show for it all. Grub and make double or nothing, that's the way it is. The gall, the nerve, you wind up meaning nothing. Stall around, that's the best you couldn't do. A bubble I try to burst and hope it will not pop. And start, that's how it goes along. Merry men learn from their mistakes. They stop, then go. Routine faults lie at that. Nary a hair, that's what I wonder at. And I try by not trying to put my head in the sand.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now, and as foreshadowed, you're going to be dealing with me. I'm sorry to say. Let me just get out here.
Raise this into the listening position.
Raise it upon.
Raise it upon myself. There is good news. Very good news. I have a good authority. That Donald Trump shall never be president. He will. I've been saying this forever. He will never make it. Oh no, it's not going to happen. Barring some unusual lightning strikes. Anyway, so Reverend A. King. This is for him. This reminded me. Yes, you reminded me of this little.
Oh no.
The title is Red Juicy, okay? Red Juicy. Cannibals eating meat. This jungle world dog eat dog rat race. Their cancers, revolution, eating them out. Capitalists chewing fatty beef, waiting for the special of the day, working man's hands in rich brown gravy. and sweet, you know? And now, with the theme in mind, checkmate, it's a subtle connection here. So subtle I don't even know why. But anyway, what words can do. Why have I chosen the solitude of what I call the invisible life? The miracles of which pass unseen, the evidence of which is strife. Of course, nature has sympathy with my cause and its effect, for the world is ever loving and sublime, or so my hopes expect. Now, to the ordinary, common-eyes view, life's road is easy to envision. One manages the simple wants and plots a course of temporal acquisition. But mystic eyes see beyond that veil, and so I'm free, not held in its thrall, for in this life do I wax ecstatic whenever my soul is touched by glory withal. Such events are likened to the sun for all their showering warmth of love, and I am wrapped in a fold of considerations that I can't really speak well of. Be curious then, and comb words such as these, and you might seek that place where a love by which your soul may take wing has joy presume thy face. It surpasses all understanding, and the varied delights of this redolent world by far. It is found in the pursuit of the Spirit's inspirational mind. It's as bright as any star. It shines fast in the depths of peace, sounds the soul, and holds all life dear. It is enamored of all things human, and provides us insight, both perfect and clear.
Thank you very much. Oh, not that one. Okay.
And this, for everybody who likes dusk and the falling of the closing of the day. Dusk. Like, you know, dawn to dusk, musky musk, end of day. Nearby, the window is wide open as the lowering colors of the sky silhouette a distant line of trees. The cool air settles down and is drawn in, dusky, gentle drafts. In its dark currents are carried all that the night is, the aroma of farm and field, newly turned earth, mown hay, the blossoms and pollen dispersed by the million billion plants of this far, wide and green valley. It is the sighing daily breath brought on by the grand shadow, swiftly, silently sweeping over all. Later, after the warm colors chill, the dark, the heavy air's incense carries more, the drifting dandelion tumbling unseen in air, the scurry of furtive life under fallen hay, the moist soil with its denizen worms. In woodlots, motioning limbs occlude silent stars, an owl's feather falls. The unseen myriads of the air hum and zing, and shadowy waters slip over dark, cold, mossy stones. A distant train, a cat's eyes shimmer. Dew forms on the tangy metal of stilled machines. Yes, this air is ancient, and something's inveigled in its silence, as each wan draft brings more than expected, for the earth's breath goes whither it may, over hill and dale, sleek along a night bird's smooth moonlit wing, swirling idle papers along the small town's cooling sidewalks, the whispers of strollers, strands of perfume, dinners, and fresh pie. On such a breeze, I travel while sitting perfectly still, near a window through which languid night air haunts, bringing inside the messengers the vast night would rather keep outside, traveling our world and the night over.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We all thank you here as I again take my seat's place. The Sanderell by Gumbo. Give him a round of applause as he comes up here. And then Rick, David, you're going to be.
David's going to back you up into the presence.
David, he's going to back you up.
Yeah, baby's gonna back me up.
Is he going to be responsible?
He is
No, I'm gonna
responsible.
be irresponsible.
Thank God.
He's responsible. All right. I guess we're going to start with a new one called The Boomer's Cocoon. Hey, watch that.
What?
I appreciate that.
So do I.
I do. Baby boomers' cocoons, as elders seem to do. Some prefer their position. Perhaps generations are like this. Sticking to their own, they relate to their own times and experiences. The regret is not all following generations know our stories. They may learn from their parents, but those are only part of the stories told. Baby boomers are not all in one box, nor are the other generations. Some gain praise, recognition, and are thanked for coming. Imagine that. Cross-generation pollination. Conversation culminates in new poems, writing, stories. Baby boomers here not dead yet. Stop cocooning together. Spread your wings and fly with youth.
He always talks about that.
I do tend to talk about that, but I try to put it in as many ways as I can. I'm trying my
What about
best.
interpretive dance? Have you ever thought about that?
That's why I'm interested in that.
Oh, okay.
I may dance while I'm doing it.
Do it.
Shake that thing.
All right, we're going to do a little short one here. I know there's going to be some people who are going to scream at this because when I read it the last time.
Be on the mic there, buddy.
Oh, okay. Get on it. Get on it.
Get on it. Do it every day. No.
All right. It's called Mouse Meets Man. In the late night on the plaza at 16th and Mission, poets, singers, and musicians regale and lambaste those who pass by on their way to the other world and each other. A small crowd gathers. Suddenly there's a clamoring. People part. Some are confused by the sudden motion. Then the creature appears. A couple of women try to capture the little mouse. The little scamper causes quite a fray as they tried in the corner and save it. As they do, the rodent breaks. There's a wide open space. This is where the mouse meets man, as Bambi meets Godzilla. Stomp.
I remember that movie. It was a good movie.
Thank you, Clara. Makes me laugh. I'm sorry. I shouldn't, but I do. Because I was there and saw it. It was quite
Ah, you're an eyewitness.
eyewitness to it all. Enough in that music. There's enough voodoo in that music, it would make you shudder in the night. It's the kind of music that will scare farm animals, young children. That foot stomping that leads to burning down the house music. That Texas style of music brought to us here by Lordy Lands by greats like Dr. Loco, who brings us funk and joy. Controlled frenzy just before the center no longer holds. That music that used to take you higher and higher and took chances into melding of styles, fusion, not always playing it safe, while keeping the originals. But when safe, they play their asses off and on again, keeping that music alive and growing. That inside your gut music that makes you swoon from joy of being human. Remember that feeling? Human? This is the kind of music that they must be killed. It brought and brings people together in celebration. Never a good thing when the empire rules by division. It doesn't always have to lead to an Altamont.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Sanderell, Gus Sanderell, and David E. Thank you so much. Now, David E. is the mini feature, but he's going to go on now instead of later because we have something in the feature slot here. We'll take a break after him. And then Margaret Mead and Donna Reed will be here with Paul Speed.
I want to play for them.
Well, okay, but you know.
I have a show.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I have a show September 10th. Dan was in it a couple of years ago. Richard the Sanderell will be featured this year. It's at Avanova. It's in the East Bay on a 1-block street, Avon, near 51st and Telegraph. I have some very short, brief information flyers, but if you please be serious. If you're going to make it across the bay, I'll gladly give you one. So. Here's one of the pieces that's going to be featured. I have 6 women singers, 4 men singers. I have some really excellent musicians. And here's one of the pieces we're going to do. This is from, for me, 53 years ago.
You're 53?
No, I'm going to be 70.
Oh.
So this is from camp, and the last A section is my lyrics. The first 2 are traditional. Way down yonder in the state of Arkansas, where my great-grandpa met my great-grandma. They drink apple cider and they get on a jag, and they dance all night to the salty dog rag. They're playing old fiddle like you never heard before. They play the only tune that they ever did know. It's a ragtime ditty and the rhythm don't drag. Now here's the way you dance to the salty dog rag. 1 foot front, drag it back, then you start to ball the jack. You shake and you break and then you sag. If your partner zigs, you're supposed to zag. Your heart is light, you tap your feet in rhythm with that ragtime beat. Just pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and dance all night to the salty dog rag. Way down south near this old southern sky, where the black bear shuffles and the mockingbirds fly, they'll hitch up the buggy to a broken down nag and go out dancing to the salty dog rag. They tune up the fiddle, rosin up the bow, strike a C chord on the old banjo, holler and hang on, but we ain't gonna drag, 'cause here's the way you dance to the salty dog rag. 1 foot front, drag it back, then you start to ball the jack. You shake and you break and then you sag. If your partner zigs, you're supposed to zag. Your heart is light, you tap your feet in rhythm with that ragtime beat. Just pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and dance all night to the salty dog rag. In the middle of Vermont farm and wilderness camps, live in the woods, guitars and fiddles dance, strumming on the banjo, do-si-do and boogaloo, swimming and lap-saving while you paddle your canoe. You can build a cabin, turn the compost on the ground, climb atop the mountain, pounding heart, now look around. Use your eagle eye just to let your spirit soar. Haystack in the barn and you're ready for more. 1 foot front, drag it back, then you start to ball the jack. You shake and you break and then you sag. If your partner zigs, you're supposed to zag. Your heart is light, you tap your feet in rhythm with that ragtime beat. Just pack up your troubles in your old kid bag and dance all night to the salty dog rag. So I'm going to have 10 people singing that. It's going to sound a lot better.
I thought it sounded pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Good. You got a song going on here. How often do we have that?
How long did what?
How often do we get a singer singing songs?
Oh, not enough.
I know.
Okay, here I'm going to do a couple of recent ones, and then I'm going to go back 4 years, stuff I haven't read before. Okay. So, this was yesterday. Grumble. This constant juggling of numbers, arrangements, books, musicians, balls, memories leaves me completely in the air, waiting for a shoe to drop kick me off my cloud onto solid quicksand so I can sink off key to every plumb line that masqueraded as the cherry picker I could have been had I paid attention to my orchard supply, sowed my seeds into a garment worthy of my navel lint, instead of scattering my dust in the bin there, done that, dumpster diving off the coast of remains where binary systems don't compute and California doesn't even exist.
Yeah. I'd say been there, done that, but I haven't. Hallelujah.
And just before that I wrote, 20 minutes before that I wrote, the object is to be cryptic before the script in your scripture becomes worthless legal tender due to your residence in the crypt, resulting in an inability to read your own script.
I'll go with that. I'll back
take
that
one
up.
laugh. Thank you. Thank you. And now the old stuff.
Oh, the old stuff.
The old
stuff. The old stuff. I'll show you some old stuff right now.
Except when he had teeth.
That's right. When I had teeth.
Wait a minute.
When I had teeth. Yes, when I had teeth.
I got them back in now.
This is Ponderega Das is somebody who lives at Strawberry Creek Lodge where I live, and he hit me to something that I hadn't noticed, and so this kind of got, this was May 5th, 2012. Thank you, Pondy. It's called Pines and Palms. Where we live in California, we have pines and palms. I don't know of anywhere else where you can find both, but anyhow. Pines and palms, palms and pines, palaver and pantomime, pines and palms, palms and pines, pineapples and pintos, don't pout, pirouette, pines and palms, palms and pines, pansies, petunias, pinkos, posh, petaluma, posthumous, push, 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 pines and palms, palms and pines, pantomime, paradigm, pendulum, pantaloon, pines and palms, palms and pines, power, porter, pewter, pinter, pines and palms, palms and pines, puke, peck, punk, pork, pines and palms, palms and pines, pontiff, pendant, pompous, pedantic, pines and palms, palms and pines, ponies, poodles, parallel, prolific, positive, penitent, Pennsylvania, Paraguay, pale, pill, pole, Paul, prior, prism, prison, prolong, pines and palms, palms and pines, prick, prank, poke, plank, paralyzed, pachyderm, pelican, peligro, pines, palms, palms, pines.
We've got about a minute. Give or take.
I'm sorry I didn't get to read Cranes for you, but I kind of like this one. I haven't read this one. This is March 26th. That's my son's birthday. 2012. It's called Hand. Applause, plausible. Measure a horse's height. Aid, give me a hand. In Latin, manus, hand. Manhandle, handle, tool, grip, moniker, composer. Son of hand. Hand down, hand in, hand over. Hands down, hands up, hands off, in hand, on hand, out of hand, heavy hand to hand, hand to mouth, upper hand, face, force your hand. Eating out of your hand, handsome, Hansel. Handicap, handicraft, handkerchief, handful, handbag, handball, handspring, handstand, at hand, wash your hands, shake hands.
Simply grand. David Erdreich, ladies and gentlemen, our mini for the evening, coming in on the schedule. Man, clock. No, I got it. Traditional as amended by you.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. But traditionally, before we take a break, I do a couple of things here. One of them is the second half. Just listen. We got Al Nightingale, Hal Robbins, Chris First, Eddie Sanchez, Yasmin, Bob Dewhurst, Mahita Preeti, who is new. Did I say that right? Yeah. Thank you. So we're going to give her a big giant round of applause when she gets up here. And then we got Garrett Murphy who came. We got Justice, Martha, and Buford having the last word. So that's the second half. Coming up, Next week's feature. Thank you for paying attention over there. Amalia Alvarez, a great voice, a really great voice, I'm telling you. Kit Kennedy on the 7th, another, she's just like amazing. And then this is the one, James Ellis. He's going to be here on the 14th. Now, if you ever heard him, you got to hear him. And then after that, we have Karen Melander Magoon on the 21st. She'll probably do singing, poetry, operatic. You know, she's all over the place. So that's what's coming up after the break and in the weeks to come. Please enjoy yourself, schmooze, network, find yourself, get your soul in order, and the machine will be off, so you'll have privacy. Thank you so much. We'll be back in about 10 or less. Huh?
I really wanted to just try to
Oh, I thought I had something too.
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
Are you gonna take a buck? Hold on. 17. I think I'm gonna go with you. There you go. Does that work? I'm not gonna do the second to the end because I'm too wasted.
Do you want to be the first one off after the opening?
What?
Be the first one up after the break?
No, I think I'm out.
All right, I'm just asking because, you know.